nice to meet you. How are you?
Good, nice to meet you. So can you start by introducing yourself and telling us about you?
I can. So my name is Christine Evans, and I'm an author of picture books and chapter books, and I live in California, but you might be able to tell my accent is not from
Yeah,
California. I'm from England originally, but I've lived in California 12 years. So I know you know about my picture book, Evelyn the Adventurous Entomologist, and there's also Dear Mr. G just here. And then my chapter book series, I'll just move over. That's the
oh,
Wish
I
Library
see.
chapter book series. So they're all my books so far.
Yeah, well, that's nice. So what inspired you to become a writer?
I think several things inspired me to be a writer. I've always loved writing. I started writing as a kid, but I didn't keep writing. So that's sad. I didn't keep writing, although I did have a job that involved writing for a while where I worked for a company, then I had to do their communications. And so I wrote their blog posts, their emails, presentations.
Nice.
So I was still writing, but not the fun kind. And then when I moved to California, I had my children who are now ages 11 and 9. And when they were younger, I was reading picture books to them all the time. And so that was when I thought, oh, I'd like to learn how to write picture books. And that's where it all began.
Yeah. I think I'm the same age as one of your children because I'm also 9.
Oh, so you were a fourth grader.
Um,
You were third
well,
grader.
third grade, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so what inspired you to write Evelyn the Adventurous?
Evelyn was inspired by my kids because I wanted to find books about women scientists. And so this was in, I don't know what year we're in. It's probably about 8 years ago. And people were starting to write biographies about women scientists, and I really wanted to write one too. And so I did lots of research. I was trying to find unheard of, unknown women scientists, which was kind of tricky because if they were unknown, how was I going to find them? I came across an article on the London Zoo website that mentioned some different women who had worked at the zoo over the years, and one of them was Evelyn Cheesman. And I looked into her story, and I got, do you know that butterfly feeling in your tummy when you're excited about something, right? I got that about this idea. I was like, oh, Evelyn is really cool. I really want to write about her. So it all started there.
Mhm. Yeah. So how'd you come up with the title?
Oh, that's a good question because I didn't come up with the title. Right. I had a title. So when I sold the book, so my agent and I sold the book to a publisher, to the Innovation Press. And the title that we sold it with was The Bug Lady. Because at the time there were other books with that kind of titles. Do you know The Shark Lady? There was another one, I can't remember her name now, but there was like other books around that kind of similar title. Oh, the Tree Lady, that was the other one. So there was the Shark Lady, the Tree Lady, and I was like, oh, this is the Bug Lady. But we didn't end up going with that, obviously. And so my publisher, my editor, her name is Asia Citro, she came up with the title. And when I first heard it, I thought, oh, I'm not sure. It's kind of a tricky title, right? Evelyn the Adventurous Entomologist, and then the true story of a world traveling bug hunter. I mean, that's a lot. But I really grew to love it, and I can't imagine it being called anything else now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean the bug lady, that's actually pretty funny. I mean, like, if we just called a bunch of people, like, say an author, the book lady, or a cafeteria lady, I mean, well, that's already the lunch lady, but
I
if we just took a word and stuck lady at the end of it, that would be a lot of ladies.
be a lot of lays. Well, yes. So
Yeah.
I'm happy with the title change. I think it worked really well. But yeah, so I didn't choose that title.
Mhm. Um, so when did your interest for Evelyn, like, how did you find out about her? Because you said like you were like looking for women who like weren't much known. I mean, like, how'd you find out all this stuff about her? If
Yeah, so
that's not much.
I found that article initially, and I found some more articles about her, and then I found out that she had written two autobiographies about her own life. So
Oh, Ralby. Oh,
these are
wow.
here. I have them. So her first one was Things Worthwhile, and then there was another one called Time Well Spent. So you can see this one in particular, I've got lots of tabs where I mark things.
Yeah.
So I read those and I got lots of information from those. So most of the book is based on those. And I found a few bits of information about her expeditions online. And I found a few photographs as well. I'm not sure, this is a bit shiny, so hopefully it shows up okay. So I found
Oh,
these
wow.
photographs. Do you see that one? The butterflies, and that
Yeah.
inspired during the book.
Are those real butterflies?
These are real butterflies. See, there's one on her face as well. And
Oh my
this is the
gosh, I thought
one,
it was just the shirt.
I know, they're all on her face and on her shirt. And then this one is the one that's in the back of the book. Um,
Ooh. Oh
you
yeah,
see
I saw that
that?
one.
Yeah. And then that's how the illustration turned out. So
Mhm.
found a few photographs of her and I read her books and yeah, just found a few articles about her. There's one on the Natural History Museum website in London because that's where all her specimens, most of her specimens were
Yeah,
kept in
it
London.
says in the book. Have you ever found interest in bugs?
Well, not, I mean, I don't think I was that interested in bugs until I wrote the book, and now I think they are really, really cool. So my eldest daughter, who's now 11, I think it was her eighth or ninth birthday, maybe her ninth birthday party or eighth. We had someone come to our house, they brought bugs with them. So we all got to hold different bugs, like big ones. And so that was pretty cool. So yeah, I've grown to appreciate bugs in a way that I hadn't before.
Yeah. Well, I mean, right now we have this plant in our backyard, and well, I mean, this is not really a bug, but the roots look like a tarantula's hairy arms, and it's the roots are huge. So then, I mean, and the roots stick out of the dirt. So
So
then,
like you've got one,
like
yeah.
I keep on getting freaked out. So then, whenever I go out into the yard, like the first thing I notice it, I scream and then I run back inside. Which I mean, I don't even know why I come outside if that's what happens every time.
Maybe you can learn to love it, like I've learned to like bugs.
So are there any interesting or memorable experiences that like really interesting things that you didn't include in the book, but like have ever thought of?
Yeah, well, when I write, because this is a non-fiction book, so everything in this book was true about Evelyn. So I couldn't make anything up about Evelyn. But there's a lot because I showed you those two books. I mean, I
Yeah,
had to take this and make it into a picture book. So there's a lot that I had to leave out. There's lots about her work that she did during the Second World War. She worked like for the government in the Second World War. I didn't put any of that in because it didn't fit in with the story. It wasn't about, it was more about her expeditions and her bug hunting, and I wanted to keep that story about that. So yeah, the non-fiction book, you find out lots of information about people, and I know you've spoken to other non-fiction authors, haven't you, that have probably told you similar things that yeah, you have to leave out stuff. You have to only find this parts of her
yeah,
story that tell the story you want to tell.
yeah. I mean, I didn't even know that she worked in the during the World War and all that. I
Yeah.
mean, again, I mean, it's a picture book, and I mean, I guess only children really read picture books.
I
Though they
don't know.
should, like older people should also read picture books too.
I love picture
Like this
books.
one, it carries a lot of information. So,
Right. Yeah, I learn from picture books. So if it's a new subject or someone I don't know about, I read the picture book about them and find out about them because I think authors do a great job of telling true stories.
yeah. So can you tell us about your process of writing the book?
Yeah, it's a long process. So I started with all my research. That's the
Mm,
important part. But I wrote notes as I went. In fact, I probably started writing out sentences and thoughts as I went. So I wrote a first draft and then I wrote a second draft and I kept writing more and more drafts. And I have this to show you. So this is a scroll of all my drafts, all
Oh wow, that's a literal scroll.
a literal scroll. I rewrote this story, Evelyn, I rewrote it 50 times, 50 times before we got to the final book. Now, some of those edits were early on where I was trying to get the story right. Some of those were after my critique partners had read the book. So my critique partners are my friends who also write picture books, and they read it for me and left me lots of comments. And other people critiqued it, and then when my editor got it, she had more thoughts and more things had to be changed, so I had to revise it even more times. So I tried it in different tenses. You know what tenses are? Like present tense,
Yeah.
past tense. Yeah, so I tried it in different tenses. I tried it in different points of view, where it was from her point of view, so written like or written from well, probably not maybe point of view so much, but yeah, different ways of telling the same story before I got it right. So it took me a
Mm,
long.
yeah.
And you remember the refrain? So the refrain is a repeating phrase. If you remember that,
Mhm.
it says, "But Evelyn went anyway." That didn't even happen until the last draft. I didn't get that in. So that was a really important part of the book, and that didn't
Yeah.
even
And
feature.
the refrain was almost like in every page almost.
Yeah, there's like four times, and then we tweak it at the end. Yeah.
Mm, that's a lot of times. Uh, so how long did it take to write the book?
I
Like
think
from
it probably
like
what
from
from
the part like when you started like getting the inspiration and writing it to like I don't know, like before all that printing and illustrating and all that happened.
yeah, I think it was almost 2 years. Took me a
Uh,
long Yeah, so I wasn't just writing that one. I had other ideas that I was writing, but yeah, I think it was probably
mm,
almost 2 years. And then from when I sold it, it then takes a lot of time too, because all those amazing illustrations had to be made by Yaz Imamura, who is amazing, did all the illustrations in Evelyn the Adventurous Entomologist, and she has
mhm,
lots of amazing books since then. So look up
yeah.
Evelyn Yaz Imamura and her work. She's awesome.
So if you could go back in time and give yourself one piece of advice, what would it be?
I think I would tell myself to be patient because it takes a really long time to get it right. Um, you saw those drafts. I think if I'd known it would take that long, I don't know if I'd have started, but it was worth it. It was worth it.
Yeah.
So I tell myself to be patient, and not rush. Enjoy it. Take my
Mhm.
time.
I really loved the book, by the way. It was a really good book.
Thank
Like,
you.
I mean, it was so detailed as a thing. It was so detailed, and I mean, it was sort of picture booky, but then not really picture booky. It was like right in
Right.
the middle there.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, well, the patience that you were able to do then, I mean, I guess it worked because the book is awesome now. Mhm.
Thank you. It's one of my favorites still of all my books.
Yeah. I haven't read your book, Mr. G, yet, but it looks really interesting.
Oh, yep, let's do Mr. D. That's all written in letter format. So it's written between this
Ah,
boy Jackson and his older neighbor, Mr. G. And it's, yeah, all letters between them.
uh-huh. So what message or theme do you hope readers learn from the book?
Well, we talked about the refrain, but Evelyn went anyway. So really, I'd like people to think about perseverance and keeping
Mhm.
going. Yeah, even when someone says you know that's a bad idea. I mean, sometimes there's a good reason for that, but also persevere. Don't if someone says to you, "Oh, you can't be a writer," no, ignore them. Keep going.
That'll tell
Persevere.
you if you can be a writer or not.
Yeah, you could be a
Yeah.
scientist. You can be anything you want to be. So I
Mhm.
really wanted to write about the idea of perseverance and keeping going.
If you could give one piece of advice to um anyone who's gonna well become a writer or already is a writer, what would it be?
Oh, well, it comes back to perseverance. I would say keep going because if I'd stopped at the first rejection that I got for Evelyn, which I got many rejections for Evelyn the Adventurous Entomologist. So if I'd stopped there, I wouldn't have all these books, and I wouldn't be talking to you. Um, so keep going is my number one piece of advice. Persevere.
Professor, got it. Thank you. So what do you enjoy doing for fun? Other than reading, of course, because if you're gonna enjoy writing, you're gonna have to enjoy reading. It's like,
Right. Yeah, reading is something I do a lot of. I also love to walk and hike and occasionally run. I just got back from skiing, so I like to ski with the family.
ooh,
That's good fun. I love cooking and eating.
yeah.
They're all my favorite things. What are your favorite things?
Well, I like reading, obviously. I like painting and I like climbing trees.
That's so fun.
Um, I also like swimming.
Oh, swimming's a good one. I've never been massively into swimming, but my kids love to swim.
So, are you planning to write more books?
Absolutely. I am always writing. I
Yeah.
can't imagine ever not writing. Even if I never publish another book, I think I'd always be writing. But I have a new chapter book series coming out next year, next spring, called the Magic Makers Club. It's illustrated by my friend Laura Zarin. Yeah, it's coming out next year. It's about three little girls who start a magic club. So if you like the Babysitters Club or books like that, it's kind of that same idea. They start a business selling magic
Ooh,
stuff.
I can't wait to read it. Yeah, because I love the Babysitters Club, and if this is gonna be sort of like that with magic involved, that's
Mhm.
gonna be an awesome book. Well, from what I've got so far, it might be even awesomer from after I read it.
Well, the illustrations are fabulous, so I'm very excited.
Yeah. So thank you so much for your time. Like I said earlier, I really enjoyed your book.